All right, my friends, here is the 20th Mishnah in chapter 4 of Pirki Avot, the chapters of the fathers. Elisha ben Avua. Anybody know who Elisha ben Avua was? Elisha ben Avua. Ay, 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 ay. Elisha ben Avua was one of the four great rabbis. Rabbi Akiva was another one of them, that went into the secrets of the mysteries of the Torah, mysteries of God. And Rabbi Akiva went in to these secrets and he came out. It says because he went in peace, he came out in peace. But the other three, one of them was Shimon ben Zoma, one was Shimon ben Azai, and Elisha ben Avuya. They all came to tragic endings. One died, one crazy, and one of them, Elisha ben Avuya, he became a big apostate. He denied Judaism, he denied the oneness of God. He said there's two gods, whatever he did anyway. He knew everything. He knew the whole Torah. He was a tremendous scholar. Rabbi Meir learned from him, but he was a big sinner. But nevertheless, he really knew the Torah. So Elisha ben Avuya, this is before he went out to, how do you say, he went off the track. So it says, Elisha ben Avuya, he said, Alomed Yeled, a person who learns when he's a young child. Our religious Jews, they start teaching when they're 3 years old, right? You said when they're 3 years old, they can already read. It says a person who learns when he's a child, what's he like? What's it like when you learn when you're young? This is like ink that is written on new paper. Like you write on a new paper, everything is clear, sharp. When you start to learn Torah, when you're old, what's that like? Like learning Torah on paper that has been erased, right? You take a piece of paper from the wastebasket, you erase everything on it, and then you write on it so it comes out, but it's all sort of not clear. We'll see there's other explanations already, but let's take that for now, just to make it explainable. So if you learn Torah when you're young, everything is clear and sharp, but if you learn Torah, you begin learning Torah when you're older, so nothing is really clear, it's all sort of okay. That's what Elisha ben Avuya has to contribute. Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda, Ish Kfar Babli, man from the village Babli village. Lomer said, he said like this, Halomed mina katanim, a person who learns Torah from children, Lamau, don't what's he like? La'ochel anavim, it's like eating unripe grapes, bitter grapes. V'shoshe yain migito, and he's drinking unfinished wine. Alomed midaskini, but if you learn from elders, what's that like? That's like eating grapes that are ripe and drinking old wine. In other words, better to learn from elder people than to learn, even though it says by Rabbi Akiva that he sent his son to learn and he ended up learning from his own son. Okay, we'll see. Let's see the Bartanura and get a clearer picture of this. So first of all, Elisha ben Avuya says it's better to learn Torah when you're young and don't start learning when you're old. Rabbi Yosef ben Yehuda says, and it's better to learn from older people and not to learn from children. Rabbi Omer, usually Rabbi is Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Al tistakel b'kankan ela b'ma sheyesh bo. Do not look at a person's outer appearance, but rather what is inside of him. Yesh kankan chadash. Sometimes there's a new. You can once in a while have a new. The simple meaning is don't look at the bottle, but what's inside of it. Sometimes there's a brand new bottle and it's filled with old wine. And sometimes there's an old bottle that even new, that's empty. It hasn't even got any new wine in it at all. In other words, don't be fooled by outer appearances. Let's see. No. Oh, here we go. About Bartanura. Says Rabbi Elisha ben Avua said, you should learn when you're young. Learn Torah when you're young. Because if you learn Torah when you're young, it's like writing on a brand new piece of paper. It lasts. Kain Girsina, that's what it says, Yeladin Eina Mishtachin, because what you, Girsat, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Girsat Yaldut, what a person learns when he is young, but a person learns when he is young, Einu Mishtachachat, it is not forgotten. Good. There are some people that say that it's exactly the opposite. If you learn when you're older, so it says it's like paper that's erased. Paper that's erased, it really soaks up. It's been softened, so it really soaks up the ink, so it stays there longer. Okay, different opinion, but that's not the simple meaning. Simple meaning is send your children to learn the Torah as early as possible. It says don't learn from children, because if you do, it's like you're eating bitter grapes. 1 minute, 1 minute. I'll call you right back. It's like eating bitter grapes. Shalonit bashlu kol tzorcha. They were not ripened sufficiently. Umekaut at the shinayim, and they, how do you say, they make your teeth. How do they call it? Tart, is that the word? Whatever it is. Anyway, they grind your teeth, right? Like if you drink vinegar or something. Also, wisdom of children, lonit yavsha tzorcha, it is nit yashva. It has not really been matured enough, and the words are not received. Umit yashvim alalev, they don't settle on your heart. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a child in age, but it could be a person that learns something, and he really hasn't digested it very well, and he goes and he teaches it. So he can go and teach and teach, but still, it's not really settled in his heart, so it doesn't really go over to others. It's not done with sincerity, if you want. You're teaching people about the importance, let's say, for instance, of keeping the commandments, and it's just a child. He hasn't really been convinced himself. He just does it because everybody else does it. So as a result, it's not really, how do you say, human, personal. And it's like drinking wine from the vat that with the dregs are mixed into it. Also, the wisdom of children or of young people that haven't really been settled yet, it's got all sorts of doubts inside of it. And Rebbe says, don't look at a vessel, but rather what's inside of it. Rebbe, he disagrees with Rebbe Yossi ben Yehuda. What did Rebbe Yossi ben Yehuda say? Don't learn from children. Children don't know what they're talking about. They're not mature. Rebbe says not so. Yesh pamim yesh child. From the outside, he seems to be young, and you shouldn't learn from him, like Rebbe Yossi ben Yehuda says. But Rebbe says, I disagree. I think each child has to be judged according to his ability. Sometimes there are children that they have great wisdom to them. And sometimes there's old people that they have wisdom like children. I saw just recently I saw somebody was reading, it doesn't make any difference, he was reading a book from one of these Jewish philosophers. The guy has a beard, he's got a wrinkled face, looks like he's very wise and everything like that. But the fact is, I've read a few books of this person, and even though he looks very impressive, but he didn't even believe anything that he said about Judaism. He didn't believe anything whatsoever. He was just talking, interesting stories about these great tzaddikim, and they put on tefillin and things like that. but he didn't really mean it. So here we have an old vessel that looks like an old person. It must be, and that's what the previous opinion, right? The previous Rabbi Yossi, he said you have to look. Young people don't learn from them. Older people learn from. And Rebbe said, no, don't look at what the person looks like from the outside. You have to check what's inside. Sometimes there's a young person. He just learned something, but it's really digested by him well, and he really believes in it. And sometimes there's older people that they can talk for years, whatever, and they don't believe anything that they say. So therefore, you have to be careful about the content more than the vessel in which that content is found. Have a good day with Mashiach now. Thank you very much, and see you all tomorrow at 8:15 to learn Chassidus in the morning.